off if it's not necessary any longer, but I think we've got a good cross-section of residents on the committee and certainly would be good at tackling some of these issues.
And it's not that we're looking for this committee to do all this work. We're looking to them to formulate the ideas, work on budgeting so that we as a commission can ask for it to be put in the budget so that we can execute their ideas.
I'd also like this group to take a look at the website. I think the city's done a really good job about putting information in there. There's a lot of information, but there's some places where it's duplication of information, and you have to dig a little bit to find what you're looking for. So as a part of that group's efforts, I'd like to see that benchmarked against other cities as well.
Well, one thing you learn about websites is as soon as, if you want to find out when your website is obsolete, do a new one. And as soon as you've done the new one, someone will call you and say they saw your website and they'd like to make changes for you. So it takes about 1 second for your, but I agree. And as the mayor said, what we're looking for are folks who have professional expertise in these areas, who can guide and direct the city, because we're long past the point that we can say, oh, we haven't solved, this is a constant, ongoing process. And as Mayor Gillum pointed out, back in 14, it's not just long past evolving, it's circling us in every dimension. So I think, as Joe said, we need to capture that, and I think the best way to do that is to make this a standing committee.
I forgot to ask for public comment on this issue. Is there anyone in the public that would like to add anything? Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is a matter of consideration of support of the 2019 Men's Club project to provide shade elements at Burton Community Park.
Hello, my name is Nick Gruber. I'm the treasurer of the Huntington Woods Men's Club. That's actually not why I'm here tonight, and not in that capacity. I started about a year ago as a private citizen, just a resident here on Hart, just a couple blocks away, interested in Burton Community Park. I noticed that after the big renovation that happened, there was a lot of need for shade elements there. So I contacted Mary Gustafson at the rec center. She put me in touch with a couple other individuals, the PTA and the school principal, to talk about what Nat said about synergies of people coming together. We all put our ideas together and came up with some ideas, and we thought it'd be great to get some shade elements, and we figured out what we needed to do to go about that. And so the plan came about to ask for the men's club to consider being a funding support of that project to execute what the school would have in mind that would be best for the students, the teacher, staff, the latchkey programs that the rec center offers, and really all the constituents of the city that use that park. And so one recommendation was to come before this body here, the City Commission, and ask you to resolve to support Burton Elementary School's efforts in pursuing those shade elements. Not asking for any funding, just for that vote of confidence and give you a chance to consider the matter, know about the matter, and put your vote behind it.
Any questions? Anyone care to make a resolution or a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I would move to support the desire of the Men's Club to move forward on this project.
Second. Any public comment? Please come forward to the podium and give us your name. Right there.
Not just yet. Wait a couple years here. You know.
I'm Maddie, and I think that we should have the shade because toward the end of the school year during recess, everyone's always under the podium, and there's like never any space for anyone else to fit in there.
Thank you very much. All right, any comments or questions from the
I
commission?
love this idea. In the front row, we have 4 young Blue Jays here tonight, and I can tell you as a parent, for the first few years of elementary school, I worried so much about this, probably too much. But this is a great project, and you have my support.
All right, and when is the auction that is going to be raising funds for this?
This will be Saturday, March 23rd, 2019, so it'll be coming up. The Men's Club is out there now soliciting gifts that, if anyone's interested in donating items, that can be auctioned off, or to place advertisements in the catalog that goes out to all the residents of the neighborhood, describing the gifts that will be up for bid. Please look for those, but you're more than welcome to reach us on our website, hwmc.org. We have descriptions up there, but March 23rd will be the night of the auction. Tickets should be going on sale soon as well, so look for that promotion. We'll probably advertise on Nextdoor as well. But the more community groups that get together and donate, and more of that money can go toward the park and getting this project running. And the anticipated, if funds are raised enough, the anticipated break ground date would be just after the school year. So the school is pretty excited for going forward on this.
Nick, when do you need the ads, and when do you need the commitments?
Ad commitments are by February 4th, and gifts commitments are due February 1st. That information, again, is on the Men's Club website at hwmc.org, and there's a link for each of those.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nick. Item number 3, City Hall Design Workshop. Matter of consideration of the City Hall Design Workshop at a cost of $5,800. Really what this is a study on the senior housing, and we have the chair of that committee, Brian Howard, here to tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so as Bob just mentioned, I am the chairman of the Senior Housing Committee, and we've been working on this project for 16 months now. We started November of 2017, and not quite meeting once a month, but pretty darn close. Try to. Where we are at the stage currently is we have, as a committee, somewhat determined that this particular site that we're sitting on today, City Hall, DPW, police station, is probably the most viable for this particular senior housing project. We did look at Woodward, we did look at Rite Aid, we did look at Burton Field, but this became more of a project that we felt as a committee was probably in the best interest of Huntington Woods. One, because the city owns this piece of property. The other parcels are not owned by the city of Huntington Woods. But the reason I'm here today is we've gotten to the point where we have to put pencil to paper, and we have to get the public involved, albeit a small group. We've talked about 12 to 15 people putting together for this workshop. What the proposal in front of you today is to hire the planner, city planner, Ben Carlisle, an architect that he works with, as well as a landscape architect, to start to generate this dialogue, this discussion, to then be able to put some ideas down that then will go to the public. So this isn't about we're designing it all today and it's going to be all done. It's going to go through this process. And the process is that this is step 1 of 45 steps. So as Bob mentioned, it's $5,800. I am an architect, not part of this project. In my opinion, and I went back, I talked to Ben about this, and we felt as a committee this is a very fair price to get us moving the ball down the road. Any questions for any?
Yeah, I'd like to see the public-private partnership explored. The value of this land is probably $5 million plus, which could be our equity. I would like to also see in that project the replacement of City Hall and public safety, not moving them, but replacing their buildings and then having some housing above it. I've also heard suggestions, because that was a discussion maybe 15 years ago, of also looking at above the rec center, possibly the south end of it. So because some people say they like the idea of public safety being 2 minutes away if you have a medical emergency. Other people say they want the exercise ability, which would be available at the rec center. I hope we do not take additional land because we have such a shortage of land. And I hope we get people, that at least some people, that are informed about public-private partnerships. I think this could be done with no expense, no requirement of bonding on our part, and I refer you to the Gordie Howe Bridge. The cost to the state of Michigan is nothing, and actually the expenditures on the United States side give us our 20% contribution for a lot of federal road funds.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Roselle.
Yep. I recognize that the City Hall property may be more advantageous because we own it and can push things forward faster because we own it, as opposed to having to deal with a private developer, perhaps with parcels on Woodward Avenue or Coolidge. But I'm curious if we asked Carlisle to perform a similar study with the Rite Aid property or with properties along Woodward Avenue, what that cost would be, so that we're not focusing on, a single location in the city, and that, we can come back to residents with a few different options. I don't know that it would be appropriate to only present one option to the public and say, this is it. So I guess that was my thought, is that maybe we look to see, if this is 5,800, I don't know if we say, well, if you look at the Woodward site, that doubles the price, or if maybe it only adds some incremental costs to consider this other location or locations. But I would like to sort of look at a few other locations here when they're going to explore this, and see how this would be feasible at other locations as well. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I can comment. Obviously, I'm new to this position, and I have not been a part of the studies. I have, however, read through the city master plan, which is beautifully done and award-winning, so I'm told. And so it's through that process that this community has come together to identify those 3 areas ripe for development. I'm really thankful for the work that you've done, and I know this is, the public process can be time-consuming and a lot of hard work put into it, so I want to acknowledge that first. I think what is missing from this proposal is the question of the willingness to pay and the market demand. So realizing that you do need some more data at this point for what the community, your starting point, right, and the design and the vision. I think when you pose the question of to a person who might have lived in this community for 20 or 30 years and they're locked in at a previous tax rate. When you start talking about how much housing costs or a different lifestyle costs, you're throwing in homeowners association fees or maintenance fees, those types of things, I think is really important as a part of this iterative process of getting the data and the preferences from this community to talk about that as well. What I'd also like to see in the future is a market analysis. We are just minutes away from a very booming suburban downtown that has seen a lot of real estate investment. So my question is, what can the market actually absorb? Because the last thing I would want to see is for us to invest taxpayer dollars into going further down this path without knowing what the market is able to absorb. Is it, if it is commercial, is what mix of retail, what mix of office, or maybe it's something that we don't know. There's a lot of good examples around the country and just, within a 10-mile radius that we can look at. And the other comment I'd like to make is that when you do get this data, there are what Commissioner Junks was talking about, public-private partnerships that we should really look into to help leverage our city dollars and approach the development community and to be a part of that development community so that we are opening up the opportunities for Huntington Woods to get the highest payer for these opportunities for development. And so that can really help with future tax revenue and planning and what this city really can become. And, I have, I'm right in the middle. I've got my daughter and niece and nephew, and then I've got my parents and my in-laws, so I'm right in the middle, and I want to see both of these households stay here. I want to see them come back, and I want them to age in place. I don't want them to go away, and I think we have to really understand how to retain that population as well as attracting new ones. So back to this proposal, what I would really suggest as a doable solution is when you are looking at these focus groups to add another 30 minutes of discussion and pull up images of different types of housing and housing styles, meaning the lifestyle that comes with the housing, and then put them some numbers. I think you're going to get a different answer on their consumers' willingness to pay, and that should help guide us on what, type of developments that this community is interested in looking at. And then obviously land use and those kinds of funding questions later on.
Any other comments here? How do we go about moving this forward at this point in time? Do you want
I think what I'd like to
revised?
do is meet with the housing committee sooner than our next meeting. Bring everybody up to date on what the commission is also looking for in addition to this study, and then maybe coming back with a revised proposal from the planner that incorporates what they can incorporate at this point. So table it until we bring back a revised proposal.
Move to table.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, item number 4 is a matter of consideration of the renewal of the advanced life support and transport contract with Alliance Mobile Health.
Mayor, Commission, and congratulations to Commissioner Elder. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor. Vince Juarez to my right here is the executive of Alliance Mobile. Alliance, they've been providing service to Huntington Woods since 2006. It's both advanced life support and basic life support, depending on the situation. They've continued in my 5 years here to meet or exceed their contractual obligations. We have a very good working relationship with Alliance. They also provide free standby ambulance service for all of our working fires, for all of our special events for the city. They'll be working with us this weekend also, and free of charge to the city. There's no additional charge for those ambulances to stand by. There also is no cost to the city whatsoever for their guaranteed service to this community, which, from my experience, is unusual, but it's a bonus. But as I said, we've got a working relationship. I actually get quarterly reviews of all the ambulance runs in regards to the 8-minute response time that is on average for an emergency and 15 minutes for non-emergency. So at this point, and I know the contract's been vetted by the city attorney, I would highly recommend to renew the contract. I'll let Vince make some comments.
Thank you, Chief. I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm here to answer any questions. I don't know if anybody has any questions about our services or how things work or anything like that. I'd be more than happy to explain that operationally. I appreciate working with the chief here. We have a great working relationship here in the city. Like he said, we provide standby coverage for special events, fire standbys, things of that nature. We also provide some training for the individuals here, and we help with various different aspects of that. We do some exchanges of medical equipment, so when their units are out on a medical response and they use a few things here, we usually resupply that stuff for them as well, and that's at no cost to the city as well. Like the chief pointed out too, our services are at no cost to the city of Huntington Woods. Typically all of our services are paid for point of use, which means that the person who we transport's insurance is billed for that service, so it comes as no cost to the taxpayers for the city.
Mr. Mayor? I thank you. I did receive, I asked for the fee schedule that was referenced in the contract, and I did receive that from our city manager. I appreciate that. I just had a question. So if a resident is uninsured and they are charged the retail cost of the ambulance service, how do you work with those residents who are unable to pay?
Those individuals that are unable to pay, we have two different programs that we can go with. If they're in the position where they're kind of in dire straits financially, for example, we do have charity care where we can write that transport off and it's at no cost to that person at all. If it happens to be somebody, let's say for example they're in an auto accident and now they're going to be out of work for some period of time while they rehabilitate, we have payment programs that we can set up as well so that we can get them through those programs so that once they get out and get back on their feet and are able to return back to work, they can establish a payment plan at that time.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we accept the contract as proposed.
Support.
Is there any public comment or questions?
They do a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other comments, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, when I read the contract, I thought there was a dollar exchange in there.
Yes.
Okay.
That just makes it legal.
That's
I'll have to check that with the
That
attorney.
is the same salary that everybody
Yes.
up here receives.
By the way, did you get your payment December 31st?
No.
Oh.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 5 is a matter of consideration. The City of Huntington Woods adopt a local pavement warranty program.
This is a pair of resolutions that the state of Michigan is asking all communities to adopt. It was part of the transportation funding package of 2015. The idea behind it was that any community that was going to be using state funds for road repair, that they should have a warranty program behind it. And I should say that we don't use we don't use state funds when we do our road repairs, so it's unlikely that this will ever apply to us, but we're still being asked to adopt the resolution. So there's one resolution that we agree to adopt the pavement warranty program, followed by a second resolution that says that we agree to utilize the pavement warranty program if the city commission decides that it's in the city's best interest. So 2 different resolutions. And I also Commissioner Roselle had noted that the resolution language indicate that the resolutions were adopted at the December 18th meeting. We did move this. It was on the December 18th agenda. We knew it was going to be a long meeting, so we moved it to the January meeting. So we will get the resolution language revised.
I'd like to move both resolutions.
We do one at a time?
I'd like to move
Or-
the
Okay. Okay.
one to adopt a local pavement warranty program, and then the second one, the resolution to implement a local pavement warranty program.
We have a second?
Second.
Any public comment or questions? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7 is a matter of consideration that the City of Huntington Woods enter into a purchase agreement under the sole source purchase section of the Code of Ordinances to purchase a Census FL 6001 meter reader device from Aetna Supply Company of Grand Rapids in the amount of $8,500. It's my understanding that our current reader is broke and we need to borrow a reader in order to
Yeah, so we
read meters at this
we
time.
put this memo together. We knew it was on life support, but it's now dead. So obviously we need a meter reader.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the purchase of the meter reader.
I second it.
Any public comments? Any comments or questions from the commission?
Will we at some point be getting not just a meter reader, but at some point adapting the water meters so we have the ability to continually read them and identify to residents the possibility that they may have a water leak before they come to us and tell us it's our fault?
We have been looking into the smart meters. The initial estimate we have is about $1 million to implement the program. So we have asked the company to bring us back a revised quote and take out the labor to install the new water meters to see if our DPW could do it and bring the cost down. And then we could have a discussion about how to fund that and whether, at what point to fund the change over to smart meters.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is our mid-year budget amendment.
So we're now halfway through our fiscal year, so this is a review of our accounts and various adjustments. There's some good adjustments on here. We're receiving much better than expected investment returns. So there's adjustments for that, and we also received $72,000 in additional road funding from the state. There's an adjustment for that. And on the expenditure side, there was a budget error in the transfer to the retiree health care fund. So there's a correction for that, and then various minor adjustments to offset that.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we authorize the mid-year budget adjustments as presented.
Second?
Any public comments? Any comments or questions from the commission?
Just a question. Do we have any idea why the district court revenues are lower that by 30,000?
So when we created the budget last year, we assumed that based on the lawsuit that we would get higher returns. That was not a correct assumption.
Okay. The other thing as it relates to investment income, don't completely explain that. That was Tony Lehman's hidden areas. He always understated investment income, so he had wiggle room at the end of the year.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9 is a matter of consideration the City of Huntington Woods enter into a contractual agreement with Office Products Outlet of Flint, Michigan to purchase of commission room chairs. These are only like $30 40 years old. Why are we replacing the chairs?
They owe us nothing, Mr. Mayor. The chairs owe us nothing.
In the amount of $8,684.
They have a negative depreciated value. Right.
I'm voting on this motion, too.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we enter into an agreement with Office Products Outlet of Flint, Michigan for the purchase of commission room chairs in the amount of $8,684.45.
And then the budget amendment.
And, yes, and the budget amendment as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I would second that, and I would urge the chief to have that ambulance company go pick those chairs up right away and bring them here with full lights and siren going.
So we wouldn't have to be on life support anymore?
Any public comment? Mr. Mayor, would you like to have your chair at home? You've had it for so many years.
I don't think our insurance carrier is a liability for the city to give this thing away. I don't.
You would have to buy it for $1?
An indemnification clause.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10 is a matter of setting a public hearing date of February 5th, 2019 to consider reprogramming $17,867.72 in used community development block grant funds for removing the architectural barriers at City Hall, from removing architectural barriers at City Hall to removing architectural barriers at Peasley Park.
So move.
Second.
Any public comment? Commissioners? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board and commission appointments. We have one appointment that is a mayoral appointment, and with the approval of the city commission, I would like to move that Jill Ingber be appointed to the planning commission.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to confirm the mayoral appointment of Jill Ingber to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Public comment? Commission comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we have some commission appointments.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that Larry Rosenberg be appointed to the Planning Commission.
Nope, I did that one already.
That was the mayoral.
That's yours. Sheila Cohn.
Parks and Rec.
I'd like to move that Sheila Cohn be appointed to Parks and Rec.
Also, Parks and Rec.
Jessica Jacobs Steinhardt as the second person.
I'll second that.
Any public comment? Commission comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we also have two appointments to the Senior Advisory Board.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we reappoint our two current members on the Senior Advisory Committee.
Jim Spear and Lynn
and yes, Lynn Feinberg, who have so graciously agreed to continue on for another 3-year term to the Senior Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any public comment? Commission comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12 has been changed for an update on the backyard chicken coop.
Sure. Last time this came up, the commission had directed me to get answers to some common questions about raising backyard chickens. I presented that memo to you, I think, back in December. So I think it's time to continue to look at it, and I think it would be appropriate if the members of the city commission actually went and visited somebody who had a backyard chicken to see exactly what it is when you're talking about the ordinance, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it sounds like, et cetera. So if the commission is okay with that, I will contact the Backyard Chicken owner in Berkeley who attended the meeting, see if I can find a Saturday date that works for her, and then do a doodle poll and see if the commission is available to go to the home and see chickens.
We wait for the weather to get a little more cooperative, possibly. Maybe not -10 below.
I think I could live with that myself.
All right, great.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments or questions?
You came on at a good time, Michelle.
Can't wait.
All right, moving on, we have 7 sets of reports and minutes. Do I have a motion to receive and file?
So move.
Any comments or questions on any of them? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Reports and minutes are received and filed. Warrant number 346, do we have a motion to approve subject to full audit?
So move.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Closed session. This is a matter of recessing into closed session to discuss a letter subject to attorney-client privilege. This will require a roll call vote.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we recess into closed session to discuss a letter subject to attorney-client privilege immediately after Commissioner remarks.
Second.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Jenks?
Aye.
Commissioner Rozelle?
Aye.
Commissioner Elder?
Aye.
Commissioner Olsman?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will not be reconvening. After that, City Manager's report.
Sure, I have a couple of comments from some of our departments. The Recreation Department has asked me to announce that the outdoor skating rinks at Men's Club Field are now open. Really cold. They're open from 8 a.m. to dusk. You need to bring your own skates, and we do have bleachers available for skate changing. Also, Saturday, February 2nd, so a week from this Saturday, there is a friend of the library is having a used book sale from 10 a.m. to 4. And then I kind of wanted to circle back to the agenda item on the CDBG funds because they are going to be used at Peasley Park, and we do have some improvements that are going to be made at that park in addition to the hard surfacing that we'll use the block grants for, and that is a playscape on the northwest side of the park for children 2 to 5 years old that will include a slide, a climbing area along with creative play, and swings that are currently in the park will be incorporated into the plan. There'll be a walkway coming in from both Balfour and Winchester, and a drinking fountain will be added, and new picnic tables and benches. But the green space for soccer will still remain open, and we expect to start those improvements in late summer. And that's all I have.
Are there any questions of the City Manager?
Well, there'll be some photographs or renderings or whatever of the play structure that we can post on the city's website so people can see what's coming.
We'll have to bid it out, so we'll have.
Okay, yeah, we'll
have
waiting.
something.
Okay.
All right. Commissioner remarks. Mayor Pro Tem Jenks.
One, welcome, Michelle. Normally our meetings are shorter than this. They are not very long. The National League of Cities Conference is scheduled March 10th to March 13th. I encourage members to attend. The the Michigan Municipal League's conference is March 19th and March 20th in Lansing. I encourage you to attend. Registration for both of them is now open. And we're a member, so the city pays. So you just have to say if it's feasible or not for you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rozelle.
Just want to welcome our newest commissioner aboard and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Commissioner Olsman.
Yes, well, I too will join in welcoming Michelle. I think that it's probably one of the most significant votes we've had to cast here in a long time, and I think we've cast it pretty wisely. And I think a new and very positive chapter has begun for our city. So, welcome.
My turn?
Commissioner.
There you go.
Yes.
I want to say thank you, first of all, for the warm welcome and for your faith in me. I'm extremely humbled because looking at all of the applicants who put their names forward, it really reflects our recent award of the most educated city in Michigan. Wow, we've got some very talented people who live here. So I'm extremely honored and excited to work with all of you. And I've lived here for 4 years, and up to now, I know most of my neighbors. I know my daughter's friends' parents, and beyond that, I don't know the whole community. So I'm really excited to meet the committees, the advisory boards, and everyone in the community. I hope that I have the opportunity to get to know all of the people who live here. So thank you for putting me in this seat, and I took every word very seriously from that oath tonight, and I'm really excited to roll up my sleeves and work hard for you.
Thank you. I also add my welcome and thanks for agreeing to serve your community. We're looking forward to working with you. And I'm going to add one other thing about the men's club auction. It sells out on a regular basis, so when those tickets go on sale in early February at the rec center, get in there and buy your tickets. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting and reconvene in about 5 minutes in closed session.